From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
We are in a foot race, I think, in this pandemic, to be perfectly honest.
Tonight, we are taking a deep dive into how well COVID vaccines work against new variants and the strains of the virus, the encouraging signs and the drawbacks, what we've learned.
A new policy for how Indiana schools deal with COVID-19 cases, why the rules are easing up and why some are not happy about it.
This is about giving tenants equal voice for bad actors.
A controversial Landlord-Tenant bill just passed by the Indiana Senate. The major concerns some people have, we look at how this could impact you.
Mailboxes getting damaged in one Indiana county. Tonight, WRTV investigates, finds out what is going on and what you should know if this happens to you.
Good Monday evening to you, and thanks for watching WRTV News at 6. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. First, it's a storm team alert day. Snow is in Indiana, and it could impact the roads. We have not even thought out from our other recent snowfalls yet. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here with a much closer look at what's happening and what you can expect. Kevin.
You bring up a good point, Amanda. We haven't thought out, and we won't for the next week. So what's in your yard is locked in place. We'll add to it a little bit tonight and maybe again on the Wednesday. Visibility has been changing at times under a mile. I'll show you that in 1 second. The big headline would be the advisory for snow south of Indianapolis to the Ohio River. 1 to 3 inches possible. The 2 to 3 inch amounts likely, say, Bloomington, Nashville, Columbus south. As you come north of that, it will be less. At north wind around 10 miles per hour. Specifically, this is where the advisory is in effect from Bloomfield through Bloomington, Nashville, up to Franklin, Shelbyville, all the way to Richmond south, and that is until the morning hours tomorrow. All of the blue represents the snow of varying intensity that sits along and south of Interstate 70. That will continue its march to the east. As far as visibilities are concerned, they've been lowest southwest of Indy. 17 in Peru, 26 in Bloomington, and here's the area from Cloverdale to Spencer and Bloomington. Visibility between Spencer and Bloomington just at a half mile right now.
Kevin, we put our live drive vehicle out on the roads right now, and as you can see, we are driving south on Keystone on the east side of Indianapolis there. We're tracking those road conditions for you, and traffic is moving at speed there. Of course, there could be some slick spots out there from patches of ice. We'll keep you updated on any worsening road conditions as we come across them coming up here on WRTV. INDOT road crews are working right now. They're treating interstates, highways, and other roads across central Indiana. And the Indianapolis Department of Public Works Indy Snow Force is also out treating roads around Indianapolis. Snow Force crews will be working through at least tomorrow morning. That's according to an email the city sent on Friday.
Right now, we are modestly hopeful. It does look like the vaccines will not be as effective against the new strains, but it looks like they will offer meaningful protection against hospitalization and death.
A pause with one vaccine. CNN is reporting the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID vaccine rollout in South Africa is on hold after studies found it provides minimal protection against the more contagious variant found in the country. WRTV's Nikki Dementri takes a deeper look with 2 local experts into what COVID-19 variants mean for the vaccine here in the United States.
We started having conversations over a year ago at Eskenazi about what the Wuhan coronavirus, which is what it was then known as, could mean for us. So it's been a wild ride.
Right now, Dr. Amy Beth Kressel with Eskenazi Health says the good news is COVID-19 cases are decreasing, but
the variants are of concern.
IUPUI's Thomas Dazinski agrees.
Even though numbers are dropping currently, with these new strains circulating in the population, it wouldn't take much to reignite that and get them going in the wrong direction again.
He believes right now there are more than 11 strains circulating globally. The 3 most talked about, the UK, Brazilian, and South African variants.
Don't press the panic button, but also don't let your guard down.
And while both say, yes, viruses mutate, it's not immediately known the impact any one of them may have on the effectiveness on the vaccines. However, research is ongoing with individuals who are already vaccinated.
The vaccine manufacturers, along with regulatory agencies, monitor that to see is there a a problem with the vaccine not being effective against the current strain. And as of right now, we haven't seen that.
A wait and watch approach. While the news of COVID-19 variants should not cause alarm, it should be a reminder to keep up good health practices.
The more virus spreads, the more people get sick, the more opportunities the virus has to evolve in this way and basically find a different version of itself that can spread more easily or that can evade the vaccines.
And when it's time, both experts say don't wait on getting vaccinated.
We have to get more people vaccinated and fully vaccinated before the next wave or before variants start to take hold in the population again.
At this point, it looks like the vaccines will offer some protection against these variants. It may not be the same degree, probably won't be the same degree, but there will be some protection.
Working for you, Nikki Dementry, WRTV.
WRTV also reached out to the Indiana State Department of Health for updated numbers on how many Hoosiers have been diagnosed with any of these strains. A spokesperson says 9 cases of the UK variant have been identified in Indiana and is the only variant in the state right now. If you are 65 or older right now, you can sign up to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. To register, go to ourshot.in.gov or you can dial 211 to sign up.
Updated COVID-19 school guidelines take effect today. The state changed its approach to containing the coronavirus inside schools, as experts now say it appears most exposure to COVID-19 is happening outside the classroom. WRTV's Stephanie Wade explains how this could impact your family.
According to the state's most recent recommendations, students and staff will no longer have to quarantine from contact tracing inside the classroom, so long as everyone now stays 3 feet apart.
It's very disheartening that a decision like this was made without consulting those people that it's going to have the direct impact on.
It's a decision the Indiana State Teachers Association is not happy about. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box announcing last week if students, teachers, and staff remain 3 feet apart instead of 6 and are wearing face masks in class, now where there is a positive case, quarantine is no longer required for 14 days.
Data from individual schools in the state and across the U.S. indicate that it is rare for student infections to occur from exposure in the classroom when all parties are masked. That data shows only about 3 to 5% of infections occur in classroom.
If it's very low, then why are we changing what appears to be working?
ISTA has taken their concerns to the governor's office. The president tells me they believe schools should err on the side of caution and stay consistent with what they say is working.
There are new variances of the virus, and our concern is that these changes have been made that in some ways relax what has been happening in our schools at a time when the virus isn't relaxing.
Keith Gamble says he recognizes quarantine rules have affected many people's lives, but that's why he's pushing for teachers to be prioritized when it comes to being vaccinated.
It is very disruptive, and it is part of why we have called for a direct response as to where educators will be in getting the vaccine, because that's just one more level of trying to get school to be somewhat more normal than it has been.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And we do want to point out here, this is also not mandated from the state. It's just simply guidance, and it does not apply outside the classroom, such as during lunch, athletics, band, choir, or any other school setting where students gather.
Housing should be a human right, and we should be creating more protections for tenants rather than stripping them.
And now a controversial landlord-tenant bill could become law. It's one some fear could lead to an increase in evictions in our area. Governor Holcomb vetoed the bill back in March, but today the Indiana Senate voted to override that veto. WRTV's Megan Singh-Torm explains what this action at the State House could mean for you and why so many are opposed to it.
Bundled up and braving below freezing temperatures this morning, several dozen people stood outside of the State House, sharing their concerns with Senate Enrolled Act 148.
This law, if the veto is overturned, basically is going to deprive tenants of the ability to have fair housing.
Those who support the bill say it would create predictability and certainty on landlord-tenant laws. It would in part prevent local governments from regulating landlord-tenant matters. Cities would not be able to implement more restrictive guidelines when it comes to things like lease terms, fees, and renters' rights. Some fear this could lead to an increase in evictions, something that hits close to home for Harper Morgan.
I was given a week's notice to evacuate the premises. Basically, he chose a very small issue as his claim to evict me, and I had to live with friends and people's moms until I could get back on my feet.
She fears this bill could put more Hoosiers in that position.
A serious feeling of hopelessness and being naked almost, not having quite literally a roof to protect yourself, so you have to rely on other people.
Those who provide shelter for families facing eviction say the impact this bill would have on the 2 million Hoosiers who rent could be devastating.
And I've dealt with many, many moms who have kids with asthma, and their apartment has black mold, and they've lived with it, and they've lived with it, and they've called, and finally they call the health department, and then the landlord's like, okay, snitch, you're gone. And then they come to our shelter because they have nowhere else to go.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
If eventually passed by the Indiana House, the bill would nullify 2 ordinances the city of Indianapolis recently passed. Those ordinances require landlords to provide a rights and responsibilities notice for their tenants and appropriate $250,000 to help tenants with legal aid.
I'm not alone, and why aren't they fixing it?
WRTV Investigates is digging into an uptick in mailbox damage claims, what's behind the trend, and what you can do if this happens to you.
He had one of the greatest careers in NFL history. Now Peyton Manning will be enshrined among the game's greats. Coming up in sports, see how a group of Peyton's former coaches help welcome him into the Hall of Fame. Kevin?
And you'll recognize this view. That is unmistakably Meridian Street in downtown Indianapolis. World War Memorial off to the left. Streets just a little wet at this point. We'll talk about where the heavier snow is likely tonight coming up.
Welcome back. Homeowners in Hendricks County say snowplows took out their mailboxes.
And now they're trying to get money to replace them. WRTV Investigates. Kara Kenny is working for you, finding out how you can file a claim.
The weekend of January 30th and 31st, central Indiana was hit with snow. County plows did their best to clear the roads. In Hendricks County, some homeowners say those plows toppled their mailboxes, including Logan Keck in Danville.
My mailbox was smashed in. Within a mile, we had over, I'd say at least 15 of them completely over, and a lot more damaged.
It happened to Ashley Lovett's mailbox in Pittsburgh, too.
How in the world was our mailbox hit? We're in a neighborhood, so it was just really disappointing.
WRTV Investigates checked with the Hendricks County engineer, who told us they've received 32 mailbox replacement claims since the January 31st snow. Typically, they average 13 mailbox claims per year.
So I am really happy to see that people are making the claim so that maybe there can be a change. But it's also very disappointing that so many people are affected and having to deal with this situation.
We checked with Marion County, and they've received 0 mailbox damage claims from snowplows so far this season. Hendricks County engineer John Ayers says mailboxes aren't usually damaged by physical contact from a plow. They are damaged by the snow itself as the plow moves it off the road, even at slower speeds. Ayers says because the snow was heavy and wet, it did more damage than usual. Of course, any damage to property is unfortunate, but each time we plow our 775 miles of road, we pass an estimated 40,000 mailboxes. So this rate of occurrence is really fairly reasonable. Homeowners with a damaged mailbox can file a claim with the county and get $40 to put toward replacing their mailbox.
$40 is an absolute insult, to be honest. It's a joke that that's all they're willing to pay. And even if I can show them the cost of my mailbox, It's disappointing that they won't even take that into consideration.
Seems like a really low number to me. And so my mailbox alone was 65, not talking about the post or the numbers or the install or any of that. It just seemed extremely low.
Mailboxes can cost hundreds of dollars, including labor. The county engineer says they hope to increase that amount soon. Logan Keck says the county needs to look at its staffing and protocols for snowplows, and he plans to speak up at the next commissioners meeting.
Just to make sure that the safety is in place, that should be there, I think. And I'm hoping that I get some of my answers in my meeting.
If this happens to you, make sure you take pictures of the damage right away and save all of your receipts. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Save the receipts. We've included links on how to file a claim in this story on WRTV.com and at the WRTV mobile app.
If you're counting, we've had a trace or more of snow on 8 out of the last 10 days, whereas we had a slow start to the winter. Things are in full gear now. 24 in Indianapolis, but we can't turn our back to the west very long. Look at the cold temperatures there. We'll see some of the coldest temperatures arrive as we get to Thursday and then Friday through the weekend, which includes Valentine's Day. Oh, steady shot here out in Putnam County. You can see some of the students walking the sidewalk there that's uncovered. The road's untouched. We're just freshening up the roof and the grass with another layer of some snow. I do think it starts to stick, though, as temperatures continue to sit in the low 20s. A little more intense snow around Spencer, Bloomington. As you get from Indy north, there's a gap here. Not much happening. A few flurries in northern portions of the state. We'll zoom in this strip through, say, Bloomfield or north of Bloomfield, then into southern portions of Owen County towards Spencer. That moves into Morgan. Visibility will drop there to a half a mile, as you can see in Spencer, Bloomington, 4/10 of a mile. I do anticipate those of you in Martinsville will see the visibility drop. That's the biggest impact so far this evening. Again, with the advisory in effect, south of Indianapolis, 2 to 3 inch snowfall amounts possible by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. You come north of that, Indy's more likely in the 1 to maybe 2 inch range in some spots. There is highlighted the advisory for you through the morning hours. Again, the biggest impact south. As we go through the evening between 7 and 11, where it's snowing now, it will still be snowing at 11 o'clock tonight. Early overnight, it may drift a little more to the north. That's where we pick up maybe the inch in the metro area, then pulls away quickly to the east during the day Tuesday. Temperatures only up to 26 for the high tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures to the north will be cooler than that, staying in the 20s. Another round of some snow, potentially accumulating snow during the day on Wednesday. We'll keep that in mind. We'll just take these one at a time as they come at us. Notice what happens Friday, 19, 17 Saturday, 14 on Valentine's Day. And as we look beyond, notice what happens the 16th through the 22nd of February. Conditions continue to stay well below average for this time of year. Mark, Amanda?
Great. Thanks, Kevin, for that. Colts fans will have twice as much to savor at this summer's Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Peyton Manning will be in Canton alongside Edgerrin James.
Peyton's official invite was anything but typical. Brad Brown has a look in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
It was hardly a surprise, but how they pulled it off, even the wily old quarterback never saw it coming.
What the heck is going on here, you guys?
Corner hammer.
Well,
we were trying to surprise you, and it didn't come off very well, but we've got one more person here with a little surprise.
And I want to welcome you to Canton, Ohio, where I promise you we will keep your legacy alive forever.
Peyton Manning officially added to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2021 this weekend, a no doubt first ballot selection. He changed the entire dynamic of Indianapolis during his time with the Colts.
I think one of the best parts about it is that it's been a little reunion of a lot of guys that did a lot of sprints, lifted a lot of weights, watched a lot of film together behind closed doors, and you get to have just a couple of small moments there with that group.
Peyton made the Super Bowl weekend trip to Tampa with his son Marshall. It will be a family affair in Canton as well. Archie Manning will present his son for induction.
You know, he's had the greatest football impact on my football life, and just never was my coach. Was always there to help, and I sure did ask for his help a lot. And so he's certainly proud, and I'm just thankful to him for all the help and support he's given me throughout my life, and especially in my football life.
It will be a Colts reunion of sorts this summer. Edgerrin James will get his delayed induction with the class of 2020 that same weekend.
I want to congratulate my boy Peyton Manning, a.k.a. P Money, on his induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Much respect, well deserved. I always respected you as a man, as a teammate, as a friend, and just so glad to have you once again as a teammate, man.
Peyton is one of the greatest ever. We already knew that. The gold jacket that's coming his way simply solidifies his place among the all-time best.
It just means that I'm very grateful for a lot of people that have helped me in this journey. As I've said, this wouldn't be exciting or wouldn't be special if you had to kind of take this ride of football alone, and to have family and teammates and coaches and fans and so many people, support staff, be a part of it. That's what it means to me, how lucky I was to have played the game for so long and gotten to meet so many great people.
Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
We're getting used to this, aren't we? Another area of light snow over the southern half of the state right now. That will continue through the early overnight hours. The advisory sits just south of Indianapolis. If we see 2 to 3 inches, I think that's likely, say, Bloomington to Nashville and Columbus. To the south, another opportunity for some snow, but that's on Wednesday. We'll take a break from snow tomorrow, guys.
Good. I think we could use a break.
I think we all could.
Right.
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news.
Up next here on WRTV is World News Tonight with David Muir. And then Kevin, Amanda, and I will see you back here for the news at 7.